As many of you guys know, the Chewjitsu is getting closer to 40, right? I've been on this earth for almost 4 decades. And something that I've noticed as of recent, within the last like couple of years, this has kind of become a thing. Playing the game that I used to play, which was like, I love moving. I just love bouncing around, creating scrambles and stuff like that. It takes a lot more out of me than it used to. I found that like when I'm training a lot of times now, if I try to play that game, especially with some of the younger guys, I end up getting so zapped and like I'm getting exhausted in 2 rolls. And so I had to start shifting my game. I'm in that process right now. And so I figured I would kind of have an ongoing sort of vlog / sort of series with you guys, showing you some of the stuff that I'm doing to tighten my game up and to be a little bit tighter and to become a little bit slower, so that this way I can still hang with some of the younger guys, but at the same time not zap my old ass out. And so I know this will be useful to a lot of you guys, because I can look at the analytics of people watching the videos, and I know we have the bulk of our people are guys in their like 30s and up. So hopefully this is useful to you, and we'll start the series off with this. So with that said, my lovely assistant, Mr. Adam Wilson here, is going to be the unfortunate Uke, and I'm going to show you some ideas on keeping pressure on people, because one of the things that I noticed from a lot of people, especially early on, is they're not very good at keeping pressure. And sometimes it's like technique specific and things like that, but a lot of times it's not. It's just simply you're not being conscious of where you're putting your pressure on the person. So we're going to dive into that idea, and hopefully this helps you add some more pressure onto your unfortunate training partners or competition competitors. And let's get into it. Before we get into it, let me kind of give you the strike zone that we're going to be aiming for. So basically, when I'm keeping pressure on Adam, I'm going to be making sure that I'm trying to focus a lot right here in the solar plexus. The rib cage tapers down and it's at the bottom here. And why I do this is because if I put a lot of pressure here, and I'm not putting a ton, but I'm putting a little bit, try to take a good deep breath. Try to really take a good deep breath. It's difficult because the diaphragm wants to open up and expand downward, and it's difficult to do. Now, if I go down in the lower stomach, it doesn't affect anything. And then if I go up here on the top of the rib cage, not nearly as powerful. So I really like aiming the pressure there. For me, it's miserable when someone does it to me. And I can notice that with my training partners and with competitors over the year, when I do it this way, it's miserable for them too. And so this is why I typically call this the sweet spot with my pressure passing and stuff. So here's another thing to keep in mind. Right now, wherever you're watching this video, if you're sitting down, okay, this is something I remember hearing in yoga, right? They would tell you to be conscious of your body. If you're sitting down right now, if you're standing, whatever you're doing, think about where you feel your body pressed down. So if you're sitting, do you feel your hips sitting into the ground? If you're standing, do you feel your feet pressed into the ground? Where do you feel your weight? That's what you've got to be aware of when you're playing top positions, and this is something that a lot of people don't. Again, there's a lot of things going on. You're worried about the arms, the neck, everything else, but you've got to be very conscious of where your body position is at if you want to be heavy and you want to add a lot of top pressure. So, for instance, if I'm in side control, I really want to be conscious that my body's pressed into a solar plexus, number one. And then from here, I'm really going to focus on arching my back a bit. Now, I'm not like trying to do this, but I'm keeping my weight down, and then there's a slight flexion where I'm trying to make sure that the heaviest part that I feel, even with my arms, I'm not letting my elbows sit on the ground. The heaviest part of my body right now, the place where I feel the most pressure pushing back into me, is right here against this body. From another angle here, you can see that like once I get here, even though I'm in position here, I'm gonna arch and I'm pulling. Again, I have very little pressure on my knees right now, almost none. Almost all of my weight is right here. I can move around and adjust here as needed, but I'm keeping that pressure there. It's miserable for them, okay? Another thing is in mount. Here's another example. We can add a lot of pressure in mount just by getting off our knees and our hands. So a lot of times when I see people, and I know the bulk of you guys watching this are between white and purple belt. I know we have some higher belts, but a lot of you guys are white and purple belts. I watch a lot of white and purple belts, and they'll be super heavy on their knees and their elbows and their hands, right? So right now, if I think about my pressure, I don't have much in Adam. Like I can feel that the bulk of my weight is pushing into the mat on my elbows and my knees. Adam's breathing is not interrupted. Whereas if I start to really work on getting my knees off the mat, digging my heels into his butt, and then being able to lightly put my hands where they need to be, almost all of my weight is pressing into his solar plexus right now. And even as I slide up, I try to drive my hips into that solar plexus. If I can get a grip on the neck and the arm and isolate, even better. But the tip here, it's really simple. Thanks, buddy. And so there's positions, there's techniques, there's all kinds of stuff that we could get into from the top positions. But again, if you're not adding good pressure to the person, it's not going to be useful. Because again, one of the things, if you watch people that are really good at mount, people that are really good at side control, watch how they roll. They add lots of pressure to the person, and the person on the bottom is extending, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, trying to fight against this person, and you can see it from the person's face on the bottom. They're getting cooked. Right? And so on top, you want to add a lot of pressure and you want to cook the person. And so again, me thinking about my position, if I want to slow down the movement, I've got to add more pressure. And so if you guys want to do the same, you need to add more pressure in your position. And one of the simplest things you can do is the next time you're rolling, think about where you feel your body pressing into the person. And if you don't feel it pressing into the person, you need to change that. And a lot of times what I see from inexperienced jiu-jitsu practitioners is they'll start moving around and they don't keep that connection, that drive into the person, super heavy. And again, the person on the bottom then they're not struggling to breathe, they're not having to fight as much, and it is just a lot less uncomfortable for them. And so again, my goal right now, we said this earlier, and Adam was kind of like, I told him I was trying to be heavy. He was like, damn right you're being heavy. But I'm trying to cook people. I'm trying to cook people under the bottom of mountain side control. I'm trying to be super, super heavy and be slow and methodical. So this way I don't have to move as fast. And then at the same time, being able to snag some submissions and things like that. So anyway, that's the idea. That's where I'm moving with my game, trying to be a little bit slower right now. And a little tip that I would share from me to you is the next time you're rolling to be very conscious of where you feel your pressure. So hopefully that's useful to you guys. Thanks for watching as always. I'm finished. Adam?
Adam.